There's no way he can hear you talking from here.
Okay. Do we have a environmentalist joke or something?
I don't.
Okay, I got one. You got a fish in a bowl, right?
Okay.
And if it doesn't become a dog, it's an environmentalist.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that was your joke from last week, basically.
No.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
What do you get when you mix a politician with a donkey?
An environmentalist?
Yeah!
Wait, why? Wait, what? Why?
Joke's terrible.
Why is that?
Because aren't Democrats like environmentalists?
You're totally right.
Yeah, you can start the show now.
Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of TCO. We have done 9 of these.
We are about to do the 10th. We're currently in the time of doing the 10th.
But you're watching this in the past.
Wait.
You're watching this from the future.
Yeah, you're watching this in the future. Our present time right now is not the past, though. To them, it's the past.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're watching this after we're saying this. So you're kind of looking into the past.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense. Am I right?
Yeah, this is our segue to reveal that we're actually talking about time travel part 2.
I wish.
It's all up to you, dude. We can do it again, but there's not much left to talk about.
That's true. We covered everything.
Yeah.
That you could possibly talk about.
Well, I mean, basically everything, I think.
We covered everything you could talk about. There's nothing.
Can you shut that dog up, dude?
Wait. Don't say it.
It's being picked up.
Okay, it's being picked up a little bit.
Okay.
But if we just keep talking constantly, then no one will be able to hear
true.
it. If we just don't stop talking, no one will be able to hear that.
Every time, like, you have to pick up the sentence immediately after I stop.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, let's keep going.
Starting right now.
So what are we talking about today, Josiah?
We're talking about environmentalism.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Did you study?
Well, I did, a little bit, but here's the thing. I didn't tell Josiah about this beforehand, but we're trying a new thing out here.
What? Where you don't study?
I have no notes.
You're going noteless?
I'm going noteless.
Dude, I don't know if the show can handle all of us on the show not being...
Well, I mean, we can handle a conversation about a topic for like an hour without any notes to guide it. You know, I have the notes in my head.
Okay.
But, I mean... To be honest with you, I was called into work early and forgot to send them to my phone, and so now I have no notes. And I'm just like, whatever, we can wing it.
Okay, I'll pretend like I have the notes, okay?
Okay. My phone's actually dead anyways.
Okay, first question. You want to put it on the charger?
Here you go. Here's your phone.
Well, I have a phone I can pull out. I was just doing
that
to be even funnier.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
well, I mean, you could have had an iPod Classic. That would have been funny.
It would look the same from the behind on the camera. It's gonna look the same. Okay, anyway.
We're not sponsored by Apple.
Let me just pretend that I have the notes here. Okay, we're not sponsored by Domino's either.
We're not?
Are we?
I mean, I am.
Oh.
Technically, I am, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's go. Okay, point number 1. Do we have
hang on. What's the definition of environmentalism, Josiah? Did you write down the definition there?
Yeah, it is, environmentalism is a general word to describe a sense of responsibility for the environment and its preservation.
That was a really good definition.
Well, it's all in my notes. Okay?
Yeah,
the proper research.
Yeah, where'd you get the notes from? What was that? Is that Google's definition? Is that Wikipedia?
Both.
Both?
Both. And neither.
Yeah, you combined them.
So I think that's a pretty solid definition.
That is a pretty solid definition. But here's a question for you.
Okay, what is it?
Since this was your topic, why are we talking about environmentalism?
I don't know. There's just a lot of questions about... Environmentalism is a broad philosophy, ideology, and social movement regarding concerns for environmental protection and improvement of health of the environment, particularly as the measure for this health seeks to incorporate concerns of non-human elements.
Wow, dude, it sounded like you were reading that off a page and had never read it before, and so you were, like a kid in class when they read, it's like, all right, you're doing that popcorn reading, and they're like, and the asphyxiate, and it's like, yeah, okay, kid, learn to read.
Well, this was the first thing that I researched, so it's the oldest. It's the least fresh in my mind.
Well, you should have, I know when I'm writing notes, I reread everything. So if I did 2 paragraphs, I go over 2 paragraphs, write some more. And then when I do the third one, I read all of them.
This is my first time taking notes, Jacob.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Give me a break.
I'm sorry.
I'm not an expert.
I don't actually do that.
We can't all be experts like you on note taking.
I'm an expert on environmentalism. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are the expert this episode.
This episode, I'm the expert.
Okay, so
you got questions for me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So first question, do you feel like environmentalism is the moral choice? Now, if you recall from our episode about morals,
I remember that episode.
They don't exist.
They are subjective.
They're subjective. They're a purely human construct.
Right.
Okay, so it's unnatural.
Right.
It doesn't exist in nature as far as we can tell.
Right.
Okay, so...
That dog needs to shut up.
Do you... No, just keep talking.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So do you feel like...
You guys can just turn the volume down enough so you can barely hear us and not the dog.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably... That'll work. Okay?
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
So do you feel like we... So let's pretend that morals
We can have some, chip tunes playing in the background to cover up the dog or something.
Okay, I can do that.
Anyways, continue.
Okay, so do you feel... Okay, let's pretend for a second that morals do exist... And
there's objective morals? Well, what do those morals state? What guidelines are we following for the objective morals? Are we going
what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
No.
So take that idea and apply... Does environmentalism apply to that?
But because it's subjective, give me an example. Are we following Christian morals? Are we following the United States government? What laws of what is morals? Are we following, other countries?
Well, laws aren't necessarily, telling us what is right and wrong.
Well, they're supposed to be.
They're telling us what's legal and illegal.
Okay, sure.
Which I guess is supposed to encourage good behavior, but it's not...
Okay, so you're asking is taking care of the environment a moral good, basically? Is that what you're asking?
Do we have a moral responsibility? Okay, just think about it like this, okay? The environment is going... we're not the only people that are going to live here.
Right.
We're all going to die.
Right.
Somebody else is going to live here later. Do we have a responsibility to future generations to preserve what we've got right now?
Well, see, the thing is, it's not actually just for future generations. It's for, current generation, too, because, air pollution and water pollution affect us now. The use of fossil fuels and stuff into the air and stuff, that affects us now. China is just completely polluted and it's very difficult to live there and stuff,
well,
right?
Hong Kong is. I think it's still mostly rural.
Probably. Well, I don't know. Doesn't China have 1 billion people, literally?
Yeah, but by geography, it's the cities are the most populous areas, obviously. But no, I mean by population.
Right.
But by geography, there's more rural areas in China than there are.
Okay, that makes sense.
Urbanized, you know what I mean?
The point is, somewhere in China, there's pollution.
Yeah, Hong Kong is insanely polluted. It looks like it's constantly overcast there, but it's not. It's just polluted. The air is just thick with, pollution.
I'm sure everyone's seen pictures of, and, their water is just, a really dark brown, and, it's, So that affects us now. So it's not just future generations.
Are they still a third world country?
I thought China was considered first world a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
I thought so.
They have laws to protect themselves. We have a lot.
They do.
Of,
the issue with China is they started later than us. They started their cleanup or whatever, to keep the environment clean way later than us. We're at a point where it's I guess it's not too late, obviously, but the United States looks clean compared to them because we started our thing earlier. Remember, we had the pollution issues in the 1910s, right? When people started noticing pollution being an issue. And that's
I'm probably earlier, but I don't think it was like the term was as
Right.
the Industrial Revolution was
yes.
like in the late 1800s. So
right.
I mean, as soon as you have an industry, you're gonna make waste, and that waste has got to go somewhere.
And well, just all the issues of like cleanliness and stuff, because there was also like that book, what was it, The Jungle or whatever, talking about food.
Oh yeah.
And that was
that
all
wasn't
like,
about pollution, but it was about like
right. But that whole cleanliness and thing, it's all at like the same time.
Yeah, a woman wrote it.
It was about the food and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think in the 40s maybe there was another book where like they've actually tracked like this river, like this dirty river. They proved that it was coming from this one plant, and that was like the first like big case where they actually proved it. Because up until then, companies could just claim like, it's not really.
Yeah.
Well, it's not our fault. We're not doing that, or whatever.
Okay. Anyways, so like the China thing is just an example. We can move on from that, but it's just an example of it having modern day. So it's not necessarily the future. So the morals is like.
Keep talking.
Okay. So with the issue of the morals, it's kind of a question of like, is it me doing it? Because like do you have a moral responsibility to go out and try to stop serial killers? Well, not really. Like our government, we like have a government to do that kind of stuff, but it's not our personal responsibility. So the question is, when it comes to the environment, is it like our personal responsibility to clean up the environment and not just like a governmental thing? And so
you make a good point there.
Basically what I said was we have a personal responsibility. Like, we don't have a personal responsibility to go out and stop serial killers. We have a government for that, right? And so the environment's kind of the same thing, where it's like, well, I'm not necessarily the one like crapping up the environment, so it isn't necessarily my responsibility.
Yeah, but okay. So the question is it somebody's responsibility? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that it is somebody's?
I mean, it probably should be.
Why?
Okay. It's kind of this weird question of like, how empathetic are you towards future generations, right? Because if you're like completely apathetic and you're just like, well, when I die, everything's over. I don't believe in an afterlife, so I really don't care. I'm just gonna live my life the best way possible. Like a hedonistic mentality or whatever.
Okay. So
if you believe that, then I mean, it doesn't matter to you, but I mean, is it still that guy's responsibility, the apathetic one?
That's what I'm asking you.
Is it still the apathetic? So are you saying, is it like objectively a moral responsibility?
Yeah.
In a world where we have objective morals?
Assuming that there is objective morals.
I mean, then yeah, I think so. Yeah, because if there's objective morals, then taking care of other people must be part of those objective morals, and so therefore it probably is an objectively good thing to do.
Okay, so I have a responsibility to these future peoples?
Yeah, but it's this weird scenario where people won't, less people care about that morals over other ones, like, they put other ones higher. Right.
Right. Like somebody's starving right now.
Right.
As opposed to like somebody starving later because we can't grow any crops.
Right, because they're like trying to, like solve the problem that's happening. Like, we have a cause right now with the environment, but we don't have like we have some effect, like in China or whatever, but we don't have a huge effect. Where like someone not having enough food to eat, that's like we didn't have the food, and now the effect is these people are dying off and starving, right? So right now we're trying to prevent the effect of the environment like going to crap, but we have other problems that we need to focus on first.
Right, like starving people and human trafficking and...
Sometimes I forget human trafficking exists.
Wow, dude, we're in Houston. This is like the biggest port for
Is it?
This is like the biggest hub for human trafficking.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
Uh-huh. Into the U.S.
I mean, if we're gonna derail a little bit, I feel like there's nothing I can really do about that. So I'm just
About human trafficking?
Yeah, like what can I do about that?
I don't know. Donate to somebody that.
Donate to one of those corrupt organizations who's gonna send like 5% towards an actual help and then keep the rest for themselves and.
I don't know. I don't know what they do with that.
Anyways, so did I answer the question about the moral aspect of it?
I guess, but yeah, I guess it comes back to like. Yeah, so if you do have a responsibility to other people,
Mm-hmm.
then that would extend to people in the future. Okay, but you brought up a good point in that people are trying to deal with the problems that we have right now for people right now,
Mm-hmm.
which brings up the question: what if you have to decide between saving lives now, or saving lives in the future? Like, which is the more correct?
I mean, saving lives now, right? Because we won't have a future if, like, everyone were to die off now.
Yeah, but what if just the starving people died? Then there'd be no more starving people.
Well, I mean, I don't think, are you saying we should stop trying to help starving people so we can focus on the environment? Because I don't think that's just, like, a...
Well, I'm just saying, why not? I mean, because theoretically, without the environment, there won't be any people either.
Well, the thing is, we're also not guaranteed a future.
That's true.
And so it's kind of like...
The sun could explode tomorrow.
Yeah. And some people probably feel like, well, I mean, the Earth's destined to die eventually anyways. But...
Oh, fun fact for you. In every predictive model for, like, the future of the environment,
Mm-hmm.
even if we were to stop all carbon emissions right now,
Mm-hmm.
the Earth is still screwed. In every predictive model that has ever been done.
That fact wasn't fun at all.
Well, it's fun to think that nothing you can do can stop what's coming.
If nothing we can do can stop what's coming, then, well, I mean, I guess it's a question of delaying the screwedness, right? Delaying the inevitable.
Right, but, okay, here's another... Well, I guess this is pretty much a fact.
Okay.
But, like, if you drove a hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
recycled everything,
Mm-hmm.
even eliminated, like, 99% of the waste in your life,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's not going to change the state of the environment.
Right.
As a whole.
Right.
It's almost going to be negligible.
Right.
In fact, you are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Emotionally or otherwise. You're gonna take losses to do that, and it's not going to have any effect on... It's going to have negligible effects on the environment. So, knowing those two facts...
That's interesting.
Do you still have a responsibility?
I mean, okay. Like, I think the...
Okay, I'm going to put it to you this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you an anecdote.
Mm-hmm.
There is an old man on his deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody puts his deathbed on train tracks. Okay? He can't get up.
Uh-huh.
He's asleep and he's deaf, so he's just going to sleep right through this train ramming into him and killing him.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Now he's already going to die.
So do you delay the train? Yes, you delay the train. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying... No.
Okay.
This is the question. You can go down there and try to drag him off the tracks, right?
And then you won't be able to, but you're putting yourself through an effort that's going to be pointless.
But you have to risk... You run the risk of getting hit by the train.
Okay, see, that's not that good of an analogy.
Right, it's not the best.
Because if you become like a super environmentalist and stuff, you're not gonna die because you recycle and like do everything you can to reduce waste in your life. You're not gonna die. You're gonna make your life probably significantly less comfortable. But you're not gonna. Well, that's debatable. But you're not gonna die. So
right, but you'll be at a loss for things.
Right, and it's a question that, again, it's like the same question of any morals with this, like, why aren't we helping starving children or whatever? Like, some of us don't donate or whatever to all those things, so I sure don't. It's like, well, I have things...
Why not?
I'm a pizza delivery boy. It's,
Oh, you're a pizza delivery man.
I'm a boy still, okay?
You're not a teenager anymore.
I'm not a teenager
You're a
anymore.
Man now. It's time for you to man up.
Let me be young.
It's time for you to man up and give $5 to UNICEF.
Screw that. Someone needs to give $5 to me.
See, it's that kind of attitude is why there's still starving people in the world.
That's not it at all. But,
Yes, it is.
Anyways, that's another episode, I think. The point is, we're not willing to give up our time and efforts to help the people of the future because it's not a guarantee. We feel like it's just not that important. Even while it probably is our responsibility, we still just don't want to do it because as you said, it's just too much work and too much effort. Like for some people,
so we're just lazy.
Basically,
you're too lazy to think about the future.
It depends on your definition of laziness. As in becoming a man, I'm finding that time constraints are more and more happen more often, and so it's like, well, am I gonna spend time out of my day separating these plastics from everything else and stuff, recycling and stuff, or am I gonna do something that's productive towards my future?
That's what I'm saying. You're less productive. That's what I said earlier.
Which is why I said it's debatable, but I mean, because some people would say, well, my goal is to make the environment better, and so, it's being productive to do all this stuff, but, it depends on what you're trying to produce.
Okay, that's true. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. So, oh man, so we are too lazy then, is what you're saying.
We're not just too, some people might just be too lazy. But I think it's less a question of being lazy and more of a question of, what's more important to us.
So it's priorities.
Yeah, basically. I'm going to host this podcast instead of going out and doing recycling and stuff.
Yeah, you could be picking up trash on the highway.
You're right, I could. But I'd rather do this podcast in case this podcast goes somewhere and it's well, this is for my future, Not that it will, but,
Right. But what...
Plus it's fun. I enjoy doing this. Do you enjoy doing this?
This is what we do anyway. Just
exactly.
Way less structure, though.
Which is why
even less structure than what we have now.
Which is why I decided that we didn't need notes and we could just keep this going anyways.
Yeah, but it's better with notes because it
probably
feels more podcasty.
I really couldn't find that many notes. I have I have a couple points in my head that we haven't talked about, but I really couldn't find that much anyways. So yeah, it's really
So it's a matter of priorities, right? People would rather be doing something that they like doing, like a podcast, with the hopes of that going somewhere, than because yeah, when you think it's that's another it's hard to make that a priority,
right? When
it's basically been proven to be futile.
Well, okay, let me bring this little tidbit up for you. Are you ready for this? Me and you are both young single gentlemen without kids.
Okay.
There's this thing that happens when people get kids that they suddenly immediately become conscious of the environment and stuff because they need to make the world a better place for their kids.
Why don't they just build a park or something and
that's probably not enough.
I'm leaving this.
The love or whatever they have for their kids probably isn't enough. I think Mila Kunis. That's how you say her name, right? Some people say Mila, some people say Mila.
I haven't heard Mila.
I hear Mila all the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyway, sure, let's say Mila. Mila Kunis is the one who, like, said that. She said, because she has a kid now or something, or she's, like, pregnant, or...
She had the kid.
Yeah, okay, she had the kid, and she was, like, she said immediately after she had the kid, she just wanted to donate to, like, tons of environmental places and stuff, and so it's this thing of, like, where me and you don't have a kid, so we're less empathetic towards the people of the future, because those people of the future are not necessarily important to us.
So you're saying if I had Spawn, I would suddenly...
Spawn, yeah. You had freaking Spawn.
If I had offspring...
Yeah.
Then
if
I
you
would...
had offspring, yeah. You know, freaking offspring.
Then I'd be more concerned about my seed being able to prosper in society.
A seed prospering. Yeah.
I mean, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Okay, listen to this. Many environmentalists believe that human interference with nature should be restricted or minimized as a matter of urgency for the sake of life or the planet or just the benefit of the human species, whereas environmental skeptics and anti-environmentalists do not believe there is such a need. One can also regard oneself as an environmentalist and believe that human interference with nature should be increased. Nevertheless, there is a risk that the shift from emotional environmentalism to the technical management of natural resources and hazards could decrease the touch of humans with nature, leading to a weaker concern with environmental preservation. See what I'm saying?
Jeez, that was a lot.
So do you think that a hands-off approach is the way to go?
Define hands-off.
Just like, look, don't touch nature, okay? Just leave it be. The Amazon rainforest, don't go in there.
Yeah, see...
Rivers and streams, just don't pollute them.
Well, it's sort of a question of, like, okay, I think the environmental thing, like, okay, some people who are environmentalists care about, like, trees and plant life and animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I think it's less about that. Like...
Environmentalism?
Like, no, I mean, like, if I were, like, the little bit of environmentalist in me, I guess, would say that, like, I don't care so much about the trees or the animals or whatever. Like, yeah, we want to keep them. Like, we don't want, like, tigers and awesome animals and stuff to go extinct, obviously, because they're cool.
I do.
But, well,
Just kidding.
It's not, like, on a grander scale. I think it's more about, like, human preservation.
So we should put humans on a preserve.
I'd live there, dude. No.
To ensure...
Get me on one of those wheels to be running around.
Yeah, like a wheel, like monkey bars.
Heck yeah, dude.
They'll just like throw plates of like bananas and grapes in there for you.
I mean, we don't have to do that. We have a whole planet for that, right?
Yeah, but this would be like an area where humans lived, where like there were people constantly monitoring the state of those humans and making sure that they're like in the like optimal.
I know what you're saying. It's not necessary though. Like that's what we do in modern day life. We try to preserve and make our lives as comfortable as possible, anyways.
No, not necessarily comfortable. The preserve is different because that's our own tendency. But there would be people on the outside of this preserve making sure that their environment is just optimal.
Okay.
For reproducing.
Seems unnecessary.
Why? Actually, I just thought of this. This could be a great idea.
And what about the humans on the outside who's making everything happen? Like...
Yeah, what about them? They just live normal lives.
Yeah, but
they have to make their own.
The humans on the inside who are being preserved, their lives aren't normal. They live in a cage, like not a not.
No,
like
it's a really big. It's
I know,
like,
not like a cage.
Acres and acres of.
Yeah,
land.
like that Maze movie, right?
Oh, Maze Runner. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, it's sort of like that, but even bigger.
Right.
To where like you'd never need to like explore the boundaries.
If we had a reason to do that, we could, but we don't have a reason to, honestly. We dominate everything anyways. The whole reason we're even talking about preserving the environment is because we like dominate the environment and can control it however we want. If we wanted to, we could cut down all the forests, kill all the animals, make giant cities, do whatever we wanted.
Well, we've already done that. But yeah, we could do that. We could,
not to the, like, 100%.
yeah, we could do that to everywhere.
Yeah. But there's also, like, plants are important, which we know plants are important.
We need them for oxygen.
Right. And some people, like... Isn't, like, the majority of oxygen from, that crap underwater anyways?
Algae?
I think so, right?
Seaweed?
One of those things underwater. I was reading some facts about that.
Nemo?
Nemo, that's it. You got it,
He's
dude.
making the...
Yeah, we have him hooked up to a machine. He's just, like, pumping it out.
Did you know that fish, they're not actually inhaling the O in H2O?
Okay. They're just inhaling the H, too?
No! No. But, you know, I thought they were, like, sucking in water, separating it out, breaking up water molecules, taking the oxygen and, like, spitting out... Wait, is it 2 oxygens and 1 hydrogen?
I mean, the way it's formatted, it makes it sound like there's 2 O, but it's 2 H, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 hydrogen.
Yeah, so I thought, but they're actually just breathing in dissolved oxygen, which would be like O2.
Okay.
Pretty weird, huh?
Okay, sure. I had a 0 in chemistry, so what's that? That's my... Anyways.
So you're saying most of the air comes from the ocean?
I think so, right?
So that should be our... Okay, let's talk about this. Let's just assume that we have objective
I might
morals,
be wrong on that, and if I'm wrong, leave a comment below and yell at me. Yeah.
or at least just watch the show.
See, if my dad was watching this, he might kill me right now because he knows all about the ocean and stuff.
Oh, he does?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe we should get him on the show.
No, thank you.
Or maybe like a real expert, like an environmentalist.
Yeah.
Who's a really knowledgeable environmentalist?
Like a famous person or one that we know?
No, anybody. Either one.
I have no idea.
Al
dude.
Gore?
Is he?
He made that documentary, you know?
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people make a lot of documentaries.
An Inconvenient Truth, though? That was a big one.
I've never even heard of it, so...
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
I'm serious.
It didn't come up in your research?
It's not.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it, but it's been parodied a lot.
Okay, anyways. So...
Let's get him on the show.
What?
Let's get Al Gore on the show.
Okay. So, what do you think, like, when it comes to environmentalism? Like, are animals that important?
Well, yeah.
What are they important for?
Well,
Like,
I don't want to say absolutely, but in general, they perform some sort of function that contributes to the equilibrium of an environment.
Right, but animals go extinct all the time, and their lack is like very not very noticeable. Like, okay,
Well,
like
I don't know if that's
bees,
true.
everyone's like the whole bee thing right now. Everyone's like, wow, bees are dying out. We're losing all the honey, and no one really cares. Like, some people care, but you know, those of us who aren't really environmentalists don't really care. But I mean, once the bees are gone, we're going to like lose out on honey, and they also like pollinate everything and
Well, that's
stuff.
the main function, yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll lose out on that, but it won't be like severely noticeable. I don't think it'll be noticeable.
Oh,
but it won't.
Very noticeable.
It won't be like detrimental to our health or anything. We'll, as humans, we will find a way to adapt because that's what humans do, through technology or something.
Yeah, but well, like you said, I actually read about this recently. There was a well, I read about it recently, but it happened like I think like 30 or 40 years ago, where like something happened and the bees in this area went extinct, and the farmers like crops weren't getting pollinated
At all?
and they could straight up not grow food, so they would pay workers to pollinate, like literally like manually pollinate
Right.
their trees. I forget what they were growing. I think
So we could just do that.
Well, it was super expensive.
Yeah, but nowadays we easily could make technology that would do that.
Dude, it's not that you get a brush. You brush the inside of a
And then you
flower,
brush another one, right?
and then you yeah.
Yeah,
You-
we could easily like create a machine that does that.
Well, not easily.
It'd be pretty easy, I think.
How are you gonna get a thing that recognizes where that stuff is?
I mean, it's got to be like in the same spot of a flower or something, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, dude, we could do it. Trust me, we could do it.
Okay, but still, it's that's something that bees do for free.
That's true.
They need to do it.
That's
so that's
true.
an expense.
Right.
And so we're gonna have to grow more.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be a big effect if bees went extinct. But at the same time, yeah, see, when we think of like in equilibrium inside an ecosystem, the only baseline that we have to say that this is equilibrium is what it looks like when we get there and when we observe it.
Sure.
So, like,
we could probably be lacking a bunch of stuff right now and not know it, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So 100 years ago, that ecosystem would have had thousands of more species inside of it, potentially. And all those would have been performing a lot more functions, and it could have been a lot more vibrant.
Right.
Because you had all this, you had more diverse, like species diversity in there. But then all that stuff fell out. Certain, one animal dying may have caused a chain reaction and caused like 10 species to die out. And now it's stabilized. The ecosystem is stabilized.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, that's equilibrium, but in actuality. So I guess the maintenance, like when an ecosystem can maintain itself, that's when it's at equilibrium. That's the new equilibrium.
But I mean, again, like we can, as humans, if something bad were to happen, we can create the equilibrium ourselves.
Not necessarily in every case.
Through Okay, this brings up a point that I have in my notes.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Ready.
Remember how in the evolution episode we talked about how humans aren't really affected by natural selection so much anymore because we have technology and we just do everything by that, right? Like there's very few things actually like killing us off based on how fit we are or whatever, right?
Right.
So is killing the environment a form of us like letting natural selection happen? Because if we were to kill the environment off, there would be people like me who think, oh, we can get the technology to do it, but if we couldn't do it, we could just die off.
But yeah, exactly.
So is it like a form of is like killing the environment, are we doing a negative thing by letting natural selection happen on us?
Can you give me an example?
The air pollution gives us lung cancer, and then we can't deal with it. We don't have the technology to deal with it fast enough, and then
that's natural selection? That's unnatural selection because we're physically producing the.
It's sort of unnatural selection. Like, I mean, some people say, well, yeah, humans are committing suicide by doing that. There's that joke of like, oh, smoking cigarettes is the classy way of committing suicide. It's like, well, I mean, you're not smoking them to kill yourself. It's a byproduct of it.
Yeah,
right?
Suicide's like a conscious thing.
Right, and so...
If you accidentally drop an axe on your head, that's not suicide.
Well, I mean, isn't like in a police report, it would be considered like accidental suicide or something?
Yeah.
So, I mean, anyways, the point is that we would be letting... I mean, I think we're not like selective breeding there by like... oh, we're not going to let humans live because we're... like, while we're choosing to let it happen, it's our way of, like... we're not preventing it. Like, but animals with natural selection, like, they... like, if they're being hunted by something, they would probably... some of them would go out of their way to try to, like, not be hunted or whatever. Right?
Right.
While others wouldn't. And we as humans... are being quote-unquote hunted by this air pollution, and we're not doing anything to stop it, right?
I guess?
So I guess it's natural selection, I think?
Is it? If it's humans...
I think so.
But by that logic, you're saying humans are hunting other humans via pollution?
Well, indirectly hunting.
Right, indirectly, like not consciously.
Yeah.
So if you don't get out of the way of that air pollution, then like you're like less.
But I think
fit?
we need to like not so much see ourselves as humans and humans, but really see ourselves as like one entity, like we are the human race. We are creating air pollution. If we don't stop, we're gonna end up killing ourselves.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like,
So it's
imagine, like, walking into a fire and then being like, oh, if I don't get out of this fire, then I'm going to die.
Okay,
Because I wasn't smart enough to get out of the fire. So it's letting natural selection happen.
But that's kind of a different analogy, because what you're really saying is, like, part of you wants to stay, part of you wants to go.
Well,
right? Because
I mean, if it's one entity, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to think of humans like that, then part of us want to stop it, part of us don't. And the people that don't want to stop aren't the ones that are going to die, probably. In an ironic twist, you know what I mean?
Why would they not be?
Well, because, I don't know, the owner of the carbon factory probably doesn't live near it.
You're a carbon factory, dude.
I am. Actually, check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently,
got it.
Burning wood is carbon neutral.
Right.
Because the carbon in there was taken out of the atmosphere just recently.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, how do you like that?
I like it.
But like burning oil, it's a fossil fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So that carbon hasn't been in the environment for like centuries.
Right.
So you're like adding to the...
Right.
You're adding CO2, like new CO2 that hasn't been in circulation.
And that's why fossil fuels are bad.
Are they?
Well, I mean, according to environmentalists, they would say that they are bad.
Let's talk about that, why don't we?
Let's talk about, what, fossil fuels?
Like solutions.
Okay, I have something.
There are.
I have something that's part of that.
Okay.
In order to solve this issue, should it be a governmental thing?
That's a toughie, man. Well, like I said, you doing anything about the environment is not going to change anything.
Right.
But in fact, any one person...
Right, that's why we would give it to a government, right?
Well, they're technically just made up of individual people.
Sure.
It would take massive cooperation to actually make a dent.
Well, sort of. Like I understand what you're saying of like, okay, anything we do is going to be too small to notice, but it's still, even the tiniest thing is delaying the inevitable, right? And so should we put the government, should we say, okay, we need a lot of resources to do this, so we need a government to come in and say, hey, we need to do this to delay this destruction as long as possible?
See, I don't even know if they have the authority to...
It depends on the government.
And it depends on what you want to do as well.
Right.
Because, like, honestly, like, if you wanted to really make a dent, you'd have to stop all fossil fuels from burning.
Right, and, like, we can't do
instantly.
That. There's a reason, like, okay, there's a reason, electric cars, like, remember when they got, like, really popular when they first came out or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in, like, what was it, like, mid-2000s?
Yeah.
Like, mid-O's,
yep.
I guess. Not mid-2000s, that would be 2500, I guess.
What? No, that's right. Oh, I see what you're saying.
But anyways, yeah, like, and everyone's, like, getting them and stuff, but nowadays it's like, well, that was a long time ago. I haven't heard anyone mention having a hybrid in a long time.
Well, you know why? You know why they got popular? Is because gas prices got really high.
Right.
In like, sort of 2007, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Like, gas prices got super high. And a lot of car companies, like, got rid of their, least fuel-efficient cars and stuff. Like, they stopped making the Hummer completely.
Did they really?
Yeah. The biggest one, they stopped making, and then they were still made the smallest one until, like, 2011, the H3.
The H2 was the biggest one, right?
No, that was just a Hummer that was even bigger than that.
Oh, really?
The H2 was, like, a step down.
I thought the H2 was, like, not very fuel-efficient.
Oh, none of them are.
Well, yeah, there's
None of them.
big old tanks going down the road.
I know, it's so unnecessary, and it's cramped inside. But anyway, people were buying... Actually, my brother, who's a car salesman, actually said that this woman had a hybrid. She drove it for a year, and you know how people trade in their cars?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, her car was actually worth $2,000 more when she traded it in.
Why?
Because the demand went up.
Interesting.
Yeah, it actually appreciated, which basically never happens ever.
Yeah, I was reading a thing about
She bought it kind of before the craze,
right.
and then she sold it like during, like 2000, late 2008.
Yeah, because all those hybrids and stuff are really expensive, right?
They are way more expensive. Also, that's a whole other issue, but some studies have shown that to make a hybrid, you've already, it's like the equivalent of driving the same gas-powered car 40,000 miles.
Right, and what I have adds to that, I read a thing about how the extra money that you spend on a hybrid, it would take like over 100 years of driving a regular gas car to make up the gas money that you spent on the actual hybrid extra.
But how many miles would you have to drive
I have no idea.
to get the equivalent?
I'm
like
sure it was like an average of every year. But that's dependent, obviously, as a pizza delivery guy, I drive way more than other people. But
so you should get a hybrid?
should I? I don't think so.
You just got a less fuel-efficient car, so...
I did, but it was free, so it really makes up for
So
it.
yeah, well, in the short term...
Well, I didn't actually have a car beforehand, so...
Well, you kind of did.
Yeah, but it wasn't my car. Now I actually have a vehicle, and because I actually have a vehicle, I can maintain having a job, and over time, having a job allows me to gain more money. Whereas the other vehicle would have costed a bunch of money to repair and stuff, and it wasn't mine, and all kinds of issues with that.
Well, it was basically yours.
It wasn't actually mine, though.
Right, technically no, but basically yes.
Well, I couldn't, if I wanted to go and, like, drive to California or something, I couldn't. You know, now...
Well, you wouldn't want to in that car.
That's true. Well, it'd be more fuel efficient.
Slightly, I don't even know how much more. But anyway, we're getting so off topic.
So should it be a governmental issue?
That's the question we're trying to answer. First of all, how are we going to solve this? We literally can't, well, we can. Like, why not? Why not outlaw driving by car?
Well,
because that is the biggest contributor.
It's just...
People who drive into the city, sitting in traffic with a car running.
We don't have
hours and
the
hours
resources or technology to do that. We just can't...
We do.
No.
Imagine if you outlawed personal cars.
Dude, like...
Everybody has to take public transportation.
Mm-hmm.
You invest in that, which is way more efficient.
That would take tons of time and tons of resources.
Yeah, but in the long run... Actually,
and
it
really
wouldn't take tons of time.
Yeah,
like, we have enough buses. You can just buy them.
Okay.
Cities can just buy them.
Everyone is taking public transportation. Think about how many people live in Houston. How many people live in Houston?
300,000?
I think it is about 300,000. I think you're like
really?
spot on that with that. Yeah. So think about all the people that work in the city. There's a reason like going down 45 and stuff is packed with traffic. You would have the exact same issues. You would have to have like buses and stuff equal to that basically. Everyone would have to take all those buses to get to work because like
yeah, but there'd be no cars on the road, so there'd be just bus traffic, which means that would clear up congestion a lot. How many people fit on a bus? 50?
Okay, but listen, I don't actually know. I've never been on like that. But okay,
let's say 20. That's 20 less cars on the highway.
Sure, but I mean the bus uses, first of all, it probably uses diesel, which I don't know if is better or worse for the environment.
Well, if you round it, it's 2.2 million.
In Houston? Jeez.
I was way off.
Yeah, I thought. I don't know. Anyways, that's a lot. So first of all, like, the buses aren't going to be as fuel efficient, so you have to take that into account. They won't be 20 times less fuel efficient.
Right. So it is more. It's a net gain.
But I think you're underestimating how many buses and stuff and how large the transition is. Like, if this happened in Europe or something, in Europe people don't depend on, like, their workplaces and their businesses and stuff aren't like so far apart and stuff that everyone needs a car. In America, our whole system is basically on, you need to get to work, you need a car, you need to ride a bus or something to get there. And so the transition would be so massive in the United States.
You would just need a lot more buses.
Yeah.
That's
you gotta
it.
make a lot of buses.
We have enough buses. You can just buy them.
We don't have enough buses, dude.
Well, there's a lot of buses.
There's a lot of buses, but
Plus,
we don't have
imagine
enough.
if you don't need to make cars anymore, you can use those resources and facilities to just make buses.
Okay, but then you're putting the all the companies that make cars, you need to hire them to make buses instead, so you keep their business running. Because you also have to focus on the economy.
Well, no, we don't have to. No, we don't have to focus on the economy.
You do.
I'm thinking long term.
Okay. So you're saying the economy can just like crash?
Well, yeah. If we spent less money, we would also be would be easier on the environment as well.
I think you're severely underestimating how much it's going to take to do this.
Well, is it going to create a net benefit for the environment?
The question is yes, and
thank you.
But
that's
now,
my only concern. I'm an environmentalist right now.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying, buddy. All right,
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Thanks for that shoulder pad.
And I think you know where I'm going with this. Is the amount of time that we delayed the inevitable with worth all the crap that we're going to go through of the economy crashing or having all kinds of issues of like doing the transition to buses and all? It's going to take a lot of work to do it.
Okay.
And is the amount of time that we delay, which we don't actually have a formula to determine like if this will delay it this much, but if we did, we would have to do the math and figure out the amount of time if it delays, if it's worth it.
Okay, but don't we have the responsibility to at least try?
We have the responsibility, but people don't want to. So you're saying, you, as an environmentalist, are saying that we should,
No one should drive a car ever again.
Well, you're out of the job. You're out of work, dude. Your job is selling cars.
I don't sell cars.
Yeah, but you do all the paperwork and stuff for them. For a
No,
company
I
that
don't do
sells.
the paperwork.
What do you do?
I receive new inventory. I work in the inventory department.
Your job's gone, dude.
No, I'd just be doing inventory for buses.
If the same company gets control of the buses like I was talking about. If they don't, then you'd have to find a new job.
Well, the government could just partition out, like, okay, everyone's going to make... We're going to divide up all the buses that we need between all of you.
That's fascism.
Yeah, I'm an environmentalist. I'm okay with that if it means saving the environment.
You realize I'm not joking, right? That's literally fascism.
Yes, I realize what form of government it is.
Okay.
I know my government
So you're okay
types.
So you're okay with fascism?
Well, for the sake of this conversation, yes, I'm okay with fascism.
Honestly, like real talk, I'm okay with fascism too. Fascism gets a bunch of negative stigma because of, Hitler.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you have a leader that's not, like, super corrupt and stuff, fascism can work out.
Yeah, I have a theory that any system of government can work out if you don't have jerks in charge.
I guess that's true.
The only problem is it's just too easy.
That's true. That's why theocracies aren't, like, really a thing. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, eventually a person has to be in charge of something.
As Christians, we would say, okay, a theocracy is 100% the best form of government.
Yeah, it totally is.
If the person in charge was actually 100% able to hear from God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. But because we don't have that ability, yeah. So, are you comparing fascism to Democrats? Just kidding, we're not going to get political on here. Because, it's Democrats who are pushing for the environmental stuff.
They're environmental Republicans, bro.
Are there?
Yeah.
Example?
I'm just saying they exist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what your question of an environmentalist is. Because, I guess I'm an environmentalist, I'm just not pursuing it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some Republicans that are they're not going to just go for anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like regulations and stuff.
Right, of course.
Like they're not going to give like corporations like free reign to just do whatever.
Right.
Like there's some that are moderate. They're going to be like, okay, you know what? Like you probably shouldn't be able to do this or that or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not taking it to the extreme, and because
I guess that could be, you could consider them environmentalists, I guess, or whatever.
I mean, you could consider me an environmentalist. I'm a vegetarian.
That doesn't.
I'm not having animals being eaten, and animals are part of the environment. We try to preserve animals, don't we?
Yeah, but the animals that we eat have all been grown for that specific purpose. We're
True.
not like taking them out of the out of their natural environment. They're born.
Well, we took the original ones out.
Yeah, but all the ones that we eat now have been born into an unnatural and man-made environment for the purpose of being eaten. So
That sounds really corrupt and gross, but... And I'm not saying that as a vegetarian, I'm just saying that as a person. You can eat all the animals you want, I don't care at all.
yeah, on paper it sounds gross, but when you're eating it, it's delicious.
Sure.
And so I just had bacon and eggs.
Did you? Okay.
Yes. 2 animals.
Well, eggs aren't an animal.
Yeah, it's a baby chicken.
No,
chicken embryo.
It's an egg. It's not an embryo. Wait, an embryo is an egg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking...
It's a fertilized...
It's not a fetus.
It's a fertilized egg.
It's not fertilized. Eggs that you buy at the grocery store are not fertilized. That's the whole point, is that they're not fertilized.
Bro, they drop out of chickens.
Uh-huh.
Because they're going to turn into a baby, which means it's already been fertilized by the male sperm.
That's not how that works. Bro, I have a chicken. I know how it works.
I have a camera. I don't know. That doesn't mean I know how it works.
We get eggs from our chicken and can eat them.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
It's not fertilized.
I'm talking about genetic fertilization. Do you realize that?
What is genetic fertilization?
I'm talking about when you have females within the ovaries.
Uh-huh.
The female creates eggs.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
The male sperm enter there.
Uh-huh.
And one sperm fertilizes that egg with itself.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, it starts. That's when you actually have. That's when the cell division starts.
Okay.
That's a fertilized egg. Okay.
What?
So you've got tiny eggs in a mammal.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about humans right now.
Sure.
Okay. It's the same for chickens. You've got tiny eggs.
Right.
Okay. It gets fertilized by the male sperm.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it is fertilized. It's a fertilized egg, which means that it is met up with the male sperm, and you have all the DNA to create
Okay.
a new offspring.
Right.
Okay. Well, the difference is in the chicken that fertilized egg forms a shell around it, and then it continues to grow outside of the mother.
But they produce the eggs with the shell around them when they're not fertilized from a male.
Oh, yeah, they're going to make eggs either way. They make eggs either way.
So the eggs that you ate, though, aren't fertilized. The eggs that you buy at a store and eat are not fertilized by a male.
Wait, what are we eating then?
The egg.
Oh! So it's unfertilized.
Yes.
That's so weird.
I can't believe...
Why didn't you just say that?
I didn't say that. What did you not get there?
Why didn't
I'm
you?
really missing like the part that you skipped over.
Why didn't you just say? Why didn't you just say, dude? Female chickens drop egg without a male.
I did say that.
No, you didn't.
I said I have a chicken and it produces eggs.
Yeah, but you didn't say it in the absence.
I guess I didn't specify. We don't have a male chicken.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. This guy.
That's crazy.
It's gross when you think about it.
It's delicious when I think about it.
Okay, so the government, I would say, I mean, It's hard to make a statement of whether the government should be involved or not.
It depends on what you want them
Really,
to do.
it comes down, as always, things are subjective, and your subjective opinion depends on how much, like if you want to do the math and figure out how much what you're doing or what you want the government to do is delaying enough time to make it worth it. Because, for example, if we switched the United States to buses and did everything that you said, and it added like 6 months or whatever, I'd be like, no, screw that. That's not worth it.
Why not? But okay, here's the thing though. The extra time that you give yourself is more time you have to come up with a solution to delaying it even more.
Right, which is why we would need a formula. And if we had a formula that made it so it was only 6 months, right? Like, if we...
Yeah, we guesstimate it's going to be 6 months. It could be 4, it could be 8.
If the
But within that 6 months, we might come up with a way to capture
but the formula
energy.
needs to account for that. So what I'm saying is if the formula...
You can't account for future breakthroughs.
If the formula allows infinity to happen, where we... Like, we could say something's inevitable, but then we delay it inevitably, into
forever?
infinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this will happen, but it's actually never going to happen, even though it's inevitable, because we have the ability to delay it forever, then sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Imagine if we come up with the technology to have satellites orbiting the sun, collecting solar energy at the source.
Right.
And then wirelessly, through a system of other satellites, beaming it down to the moon.
Yes, I know, yes.
Then channeling that.
We need... Right, it's a technology question where we don't necessarily have the technology to do it yet. If we had the solar panels, if we had the batteries for like electric cars and stuff to store that energy, like one of the main issues... Well, sort of. Like, there's been some recent innovations with batteries, but
we
batteries...
still use lithium ions and...
Yeah.
They don't last that long. They only last about 80,000 miles, and they charge really slowly. So that's the biggest difference between gas.
They don't last very long, right?
Yeah, about 80,000 miles.
I mean, not the battery dying, but like the charge, right? You got to charge it all the time.
That's what I'm saying. The thing is, the main hindrance is you can't go on a road trip.
Right, exactly.
Because you have to wait 8 hours for it to fully charge.
Exactly. But, I mean, there have been some breakthroughs lately with batteries that, like, charge really fast and stuff. But we that's not, like, commercially available, and we don't have it, like... So,
but what makes electricity the most viable option, even though it is really slow to recharge and stuff, is that we already have the infrastructure...
Right.
You can make a charging station really easily, really cheaply, at every gas station.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And there's like...
You can't do that. It's not easy to build a hydrogen, liquid hydrogen fuel tanker, right next to that gasoline tank.
It runs on water, man. It runs on water.
No, it produces water. That's like the
Dude,
exhaust.
I heard there's going to be a car that runs on water, man.
Have you seen that movie with Keanu Reeves?
That movie?
Yeah.
I was referencing that 70s show.
Dude, that was a movie first.
Was it?
Yeah.
What
Keanu
movie?
Reeves and Morgan Freeman.
What movie?
I forgot what it was called, but Keanu Reeves comes up with the solution to, like, turn water into energy, and then, like, he's on the run from, like, this oil tycoon.
Which is another thing we need to talk about.
What?
Do you think that... Are you one of those conspiracy theorists who,
Yes.
Because we do have technology, but, like... And we see it all the time. If you're on the internet often, you'll see people, like, putting, like... how about those roads that are, like, basically just, like, completely solar panels and stuff? Like, we have all these new innovations in technology that if we put the money towards them to implement them, in, like, just a couple decades, we would become, like, much less reliant on fossil fuels. And some people think, well, these giant oil companies and stuff, they care more about their money and stuff, and so they're not going to let this happen. Are you, like, one of those people?
I don't know, because I think if you've got a viable option, then, like, you will get the funding from somewhere. You know what I mean? Because somebody else will be willing to make money on new technology, and they'll fund it if they actually think it's a viable option.
Right.
You know what I mean?
it's weird though, because like when like if almost every time that a new energy source or something is brought up, or like even people talking about solar panels and stuff, it's brought up
the
like
Illuminati shuts them down.
yeah, it's brought up like every time. People are like, man, such a shame that the government and those big oil companies and stuff won't let this become popularized and stuff. And I'm not sure.
Well, most of the time that stuff is just sensationalized to make it sound more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's a really exciting headline, but if you actually read into it, it's like, you know, maybe not.
Right.
Not as like. Not the way they describe it.
It's like with space stuff where they're like, a new planet discovered that's similar to Earth, and it's like, well, they did some calculations, and this one could have water on it, maybe.
Under the surface, frozen.
Yeah.
Mixed in
and
with
they're like, it's the new
nitroglycerin.
Earth. Is this where we'll move to? Like in the headline
Yeah.
or something? Yeah.
The new frontier.
New frontier.
Yeah.
But
Scientists
space
find new
is the
planet.
final frontier, so we don't need a new frontier, right?
Well, it's like an infinite frontier, so yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's why it's the final one, because it's like, it's never ending.
Until we get the fourth dimension.
It's time. It's
Yeah,
not
I
the
know.
fifth dimension.
No, until we start traveling through space time.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
And things get like.
What if
that's
you
a
kill
new
your grandfather, though? Then you'll
Well,
cease to
then
exist.
You get a paradox.
But if you don't exist, then you wouldn't be able to go back in time and kill your grandfather, which means you would exist.
Dang, dude, we need to do an episode on that.
Yeah, we should. Let's do it
Okay.
right now.
Okay, let's just turn this crap off. Delete this immediately.
No, this actually got pretty interesting
Cool.
for a little bit.
I mean, okay, so is there really much else to bring up? Okay, so the government thing is like we don't really have a formula to determine like how much it's worth. So, I mean, should we...
Yeah, and you said I don't think you can actually calculate
Right,
even
right.
future inventions that are going to come up.
Right, and I think, me being the optimist that I am, I think we will eventually just find a way to make it all work.
Or just move.
Sure.
You know, like your house is getting run down.
Right.
Don't fix it up, just move.
Isn't that like the theory of like a lot of alien movies and stuff? It's like, oh, the aliens need our resources, and so they, yeah. But I mean, I think eventually we'll be able to just make it work. Me being an optimist. However, in our daily lives, should we go out of our way to do it? Like, it's our moral responsibility. But like, should we? Like, is it that big of a deal? Like, I'm asking you, after this episode, are you gonna go, like, recycle all your goods and stuff?
My goods, no.
Shut
My
up.
services, maybe.
Recycle your services?
No, I'm not gonna change. I never change after these episodes.
Yeah.
I just think about them for a little bit, and then just go back to whatever else I was doing. Go back to my other channel, josiahsandu.com/YouTube.
I saw your most recent video, and that was pretty good.
Which one?
I don't remember. I really don't. It was the one that you
Oh,
liked
yeah.
with this channel.
Yeah.
That was
Thumbs
good.
up for the Punisher logo.
Oh, yeah. No, upvote. That's what I said. But thumbs up works too, yeah.
Well, it is the symbol.
It is a thumbs up, yeah.
Just like Facebook, actually.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And they both are likes. Which one came first? YouTube, obviously.
I think they actually started to exist around the same time. Like, Facebook was the college thing and not actually a giant social network around the same time. Because YouTube started in 2002?
I think that's when Facebook happened.
I mean, maybe Facebook started in like 04, maybe.
Because first it was like Friendster, right?
I'm not sure.
That was a predecessor, not associated with Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm not
It
sure.
was out there.
Anyways, is there anything else that we missed on the environmental thing?
I don't think so.
Trying to
I
think back
it's-
to my notes.
It's pointless, and you shouldn't do anything about it. Really, just enjoy life.
I mean, like, no matter what we say, people are gonna, like, there's a reason that, like, everyone's not out recycling and doing everything. There's nothing you could say that would probably change someone's mind. I think there are certain things, like having a kid, that would
Well,
make
if you educate people enough, maybe they'll change their minds.
Well, I don't think so. I think there's, like, scenarios like having a kid where you start to consider the future being massively important. But I think most people nowadays are like, Actually, basically forever, not nowadays. I think people are more selfish than they like to believe. And they're just like, well, I don't care that much. But they don't want to say that they don't care that much, obviously.
Yeah.
They want to say that they're like...
this is so important to me.
Right, but then they don't actually do anything about it. I'm going to be blunt about it and say, I don't care about the environment.
Well, you don't care enough to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Same here. I think that's like if you tell somebody like, hey man, like I think most people know like, hey man, we shouldn't be like polluting the earth and stuff.
Right.
They'd be like, yeah man, I totally agree with you.
And
then they're just gonna go like eat a cheeseburger and like throw the wrapper away.
Yeah. And some people
in a landfill.
You know, that's another thing is littering. Do you ever litter?
Not as a habit, but I guess I probably have, yeah.
I mean, like...
Not habitually.
Okay.
I don't just, like, throw things out of my car door or window. Or anything like that.
I guess there's an environmentalist side to me. Because when I see people litter, I just, like, want to punch them. Like, I don't know why. Like, because it's not that big of a deal. We have, roadside crews to clean that stuff up and stuff.
We have, juvenile delinquents.
Yeah. But... I don't know, it's just like, it irritates me. Like, I remember this one specific time where I saw some teenager just, like, drop his big gulp cup, like, on the grass or something. And I was like, you loser, why could you not just take that to a trash can, like, 20 feet away from you? Like, what's the problem?
You know why? It's because you don't like dirt.
I don't?
Yeah. You're a germaphobe.
I mean, I am, but I mean, the dirt isn't an issue.
Yeah, but the thing is... They're forcing you to look at their trash.
Nah, that doesn't bother me.
Well, what is it then?
I have no idea. It's just like, I think it's, maybe it's like the laziness factor. Like, I'm lazy, but I'm not lazy enough to drop, you know, like a cup or something into the grass. Like, you can just hold on to it till you get to a trash can. There ain't no issue with that, right?
So, what you're saying is
put it in your pocket or something.
You don't like people being more lazy than you.
Everyone likes that, right? That is the lesson of today. Nobody likes it when someone is more lazy than they are.
You're right, because environmentalists are not lazy.
Yeah.
If they're like really hardcore.
Yeah.
They're trying to bring everyone up to their level.
Yeah. Screw that,
What
man.
jerks.
I'm gonna go home and like sleep. Really, the solution to littering is wear cargo pants. I recommend Wranglers. You get those at Walmart for really cheap.
You're not gonna put a big gulp in your...
I carry crap in my cargos all the time.
Really, how often does it come up that...
Because cargos are ugly, garbage, but it's more about like utility than ugliness.
But how often is it really that you have garbage and you're not near a garbage can?
I mean, not very often.
Not very often.
So just throw it away. But I mean,
I feel like walking through a park. That's probably the farthest I've ever been away from a garbage can. Even there's garbage cans.
Or, I mean, like, yeah.
On a hiking trail.
Or, like, in a formal situation where you can't, like, get up or something.
Like what?
Like a church. A wedding? Like a church or something.
Like a wedding.
Or a wedding, sure.
Why would you have trash that you...
Let's say you're eating a mint. Like, you have a mint in your pocket, you eat it.
It's in a case.
You don't just throw the plastic on the ground. No, I'm talking about like a peppermint with like the plastic around it, not like a metal. Not like an Altoid, but...
Just put it in your pocket.
There you go, put it in the pocket, don't throw it. See, everyone already thinks put it in your pocket. Well, put other things in your pocket too. Like
your big gulp.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
But that's a big gulp, that's a big...
That's why you get Wrangler cargos. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
I mean, that's what I do. I have both my cargo pockets with the stuff in them right now.
Trash?
Paper towels are trash, right?
If they're not, they're unused.
I mean, they're kind of used.
What is that for?
For, you know, if you spill something or something.
You just have undesignated paper towels in your pocket?
I got pen. Oh, wait. One of these is a Domino's pen. Oh, wait. That might be in the other pocket. Yeah, it is.
Dude, you're just straight up promoting your own business on our show.
Oh, sorry.
I don't like how commercial we've become.
Sorry, guys. Hey, you guys see this?
We just sold out to the Illuminati. Dude, Illuminati! Oh my gosh, it's 2 eyes and then 1.
What?
It's like 2 eyes and then 1 eye.
Yeah, dude, Illuminati.
Symbolizing, that's 3 eyes.
I think we've
it's an alien eye.
Been derived. So, don't litter, because that's stupid. And if you don't care about the environment, I don't either, so it's not really a big deal. Just admit that you don't care about the environment, though. Don't be one of those people who's like, oh,
yeah, just own it.
Yeah, just, don't be like one of those people who's like, oh yeah, dude, I read all the time. Because for some reason there's this negative idea about, like, people who don't read are stupid. And it's like, people will be like, yeah, dude, I totally read the book when you're talking about a movie or something, and that bothers me, too. Like, just admit that you don't read. Like, shut up. I don't read. I don't care.
I don't read books. Does that count?
That counts.
Is not reading?
That counts.
I read a lot of articles, though.
That's true. I mean,
I read a lot of Reddit articles.
I read
just
articles
like whatever's
and stuff
on there.
Too.
News,
yeah,
science.
But I read books, yeah.
That's good enough, right? So we're pretty smart. From all the articles, because we do a lot of...
No, those things are not mutually...
Oh, so we read a lot, and we're dumb.
I mean, no. We host a podcast about being smart, dude.
This show's not about being smart.
Okay.
Oh! Quick plug for this podcast. It's called The Worst Idea Ever. It's about these guys. They just watch Grown Ups 2 every day.
Oh, you told me about this.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh. Why? Grown Ups 2.
I've never even seen it. So.
Me neither. I haven't seen either of those movies.
I think I've seen like bits and pieces of the first one on TV or something, but...
I haven't seen Adam Sandler.
You think I would like it, because I like Kevin James, and Adam Sandler's not the worst.
You like Kevin James?
Yeah, dude.
From King of Queens?
Yeah. Well, I liked him in King of Queens. I think Mall Cop was very poor. I don't get that movie. Like, the comedy in that movie was not good.
But King of Queens, that was written pretty well.
Yeah.
In fact, they adapted an episode into a movie.
Did they?
A Swedish movie.
What was the movie called?
Force Majeure.
What was the episode?
It was the one where the plane is, like, him and Carrie are, like, on a plane. They're landing back on their city, right? Mm-hmm. And they're, like, on the ground, but the oxygen masks accidentally deploy. And, like, he grabs it and puts it on. Yeah. And there's only one. There was only one between them.
And then she just looks at him, like, all fed up or something, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and in this Swedish movie, it just came out last year, and they submitted it for the...
We're done talking about environmentalism, by the way.
Yeah, so you can turn this off now if you don't want to learn about this new cool, sweet movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this movie, this family is at a resort, like a ski resort, ski lodge, and they're, like, eating breakfast on this balcony, and, like, they're doing, like, controlled demolitions, which they really do. They, like, blow up Alps. For some reason, I don't know why, but it has a purpose. And it's like a controlled thing, right? And so they blow this thing up, and like this big like avalanche is happening like on the mountain next to them, and it looks like it's like gonna roll towards them. And the dad just like bolts and leaves his family at the table, and everyone else is just sitting there.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, they get, like, flooded with, like snow and stuff. Like, a light snow. Haze covers everything.
There's a Seinfeld episode more like that than King of Queens.
What's a Seinfeld episode?
The one where there's George is at, like, a party for kids, because one of his friends says kid is having, like, a birthday party or something. And there's, like, a fire in the kitchen or something. And he runs out yelling fire, and like I think he like pushes a bunch of people down or something trying to get out of the house, and then he like, like gets out, but he's like really rude about it, and he's just yelling fire, and he yells and runs through a bunch of people.
And then he has to deal with the repercussion of people thinking he's a jerk, wuss.
Basically, yeah. Something like that. I haven't seen it in a long time. There's gonna be some Seinfeld watchers who are like, you loser, you quoted that wrong, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, probably. Because anyone who watches Seinfeld has seen every episode like 15 times at least.
Yeah, golly. What a bunch of pretentious jerks.
No, Seinfeld's funny.
Oh yeah, you're awesome, Seinfeld fans.
No, I mean, some people don't like Seinfeld, and that confuses me.
I love Seinfeld, but I have not seen every episode.
I mean, there are some episodes that don't air on TV, so.
I've seen more than those. I have not seen more than those episodes.
Right. I saw like a GIF, or some people say GIF. It's GIF.
Is it?
I call it GIF.
That's a peanut butter.
Right. Haven't you ever seen the GIF where the guy has the peanut butter and he like spins the cap and he's like GIF, and then it repeats?
No, I've never seen that.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah. But I saw a GIF of an episode of a scene from Seinfeld, and I was like, I've literally never seen that episode before, and I've been watching Seinfeld basically all my life.
You've been watching it since it came out? And you just are constantly rewatching it?
I mean, I'm not watching it like every day, but I mean, like, you know,
You'll just pop on an episode?
Like, if it's on TV, I go to it basically over anything else.
Oh, okay. What about Curb Your Enthusiasm?
What is that? I know that name.
It's the show with Larry David.
Oh, okay, no, I don't.
The creator of Seinfeld.
I mean, yes, I know who Larry David is, but I have not.
Like he had his own show for several seasons after Seinfeld.
Oh, did he?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that.
And it's like very Seinfeld-esque.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like the first episode is about he has these pants that are like too baggy. Then when he sits down, it looks like he has an erection.
This is a child's show, dude. We're still recording, remember that.
This is a family show.
This is a family show.
This is for you kids.
You can't talk about that.
When a man loves a woman.
We already talked about the birds and the bees with your stupid chicken thing, because you
They
don't understand how chickens work. Okay, let's end the episode here.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
YouTube.com/373 save them backwards. YouTube.com/ Actually, I don't know if it's slash. Just find me at Nurian Lindale at youtube.com. I actually just posted a new video. Twitch.tv/Nurian Lindale. What's your Twitter handle?
Josiah Sandu.
Josiah Sandu.
Just spell that as best you can.
Tcopodcast@gmail.com. Facebook.com/TCOpodcast. Josiah Sandu is JOSIAHSANDHU. Jeez,
that's 100% correct.
Yeah, that was hard to spell on the spot though. If we missed stuff, we definitely did. Take a comment. Take a comment if you like the format of this one where we didn't have notes. Take a comment if you want the other format back. Maybe we'll do the next episode like this, just as an experiment to see how that one goes too. Is there anything we're missing?
Yep, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Turn it off.
Don't fall, dude.